Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Buccateers, a proud partner of the TSPN. Tampa Stunna Tricky Tones tonight in the building. Tampa Tones. I go by a variety of names. Call me as you please, but nonetheless, we got our live draft recap show. We're hoping some more members of the crew do jump in. We're excited to answer your guys' questions tonight as well. You could get them in live on the YouTube chat. We had a lot of questions last week for our live draft show, which was fun. We had about 10 contributors. That was a cool time. And then Facebook got a couple questions as well. I didn't quite coordinate with those until after the video, but it was still fun. Twitter, we got action too. Without further ado, I'm Tampa Tones. I'm joined by my partner in crime, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Stunna himself. And Stunna, I can't believe it's already a week from the draft. We got a lot to talk about. We had some free agent signings. We had some UDFA signings. We had some crazy hat stories with the first round pick and Mr. Irrelevant. Both of them had crazy stories about hats out of all things on draft day. Nonetheless, Stunna, how we doing tonight? Welcome back to another Buccateers. We got a lot to dissect this evening.
What's up, Tone?
Great night. Great to have you. Thanks for joining me. Where can the people follow you at on Twitter?
At Stunna Buccaneer on Twitter. Hit me up anytime. We're talking Bucks. Repeat, going for two.
Going for two. That's what we say here. None of the run it back and the Chiefs slander. That's Chiefs language. We say going for two in this neck of the woods. That's just how we do it in Tampa, or if you're a fan of the Tampa variety. It's a Thursday night. It's a beautiful night as a Buccaneer fan, as a fan of Tampa sports in general. But Stunna, first we want to talk about something you've called Kyle Trask. We're not going to get around it. We're not going to beat around the bush. Kyle Trask was something that you had talked about for a long time now. You probably called it for 6 weeks. I'd actually have to go back and rewatch the Buccateers episodes myself and see how long you've been calling it for. But you've had this Kyle Trask pick up your sleeve for quite some time now. What led you to believe that we would ultimately take Kyle Trask? And what was your reaction when we did indeed take the former gunslinger from Florida, through 40-something touchdowns last year, only 8 interceptions, over 4,000 yards? I might be lying if I said I did not have a Kyle Trask jersey on the way already.
Yeah, well, I saw the photos and the stuff from the pro day of Kyle Trask with Clyde Christensen. So I was like, yeah, man, they're going to look at him. And then when I heard BA's press conference and Jason Light, I was like, that's a wrap. They're definitely going to go for Kyle Trask. And when he slipped us in the second round, I was like, man, it's a done deal. And if you look in the draft the very next day, Texas A&M Mond and another quarterback went right at the top of the next round, of the third round. So it was definitely a steal of the draft to get him, and it was definitely a fit. And I was like, Jason Light, this is the pick, because the Gator people that love the Gators are already going to jump on the bandwagon. So it's a win-win. So I was like, it makes a lot of sense, and I figured they would do it. I thought it might happen to happen in the first round, but even at the end of the first round, where there was a run on edge rushers, I thought we got the best of those last 3 that were drafted at the end of the third round. I mean, the first round as well. So I really thought we had a strong draft, and I definitely felt that we, Jason Light and BA kind of tipped their hands about Kyle Trask.
Yeah, I think you did a tremendous job once again. If you guys go back in previous episodes, Stunna has been a Trask advocate. He's been saying we were going to get Kyle Trask because of Bruce Arians, and Jason Light tipping the cap a little bit. But you could tell both were very happy with the pick. At least their initial reactions seem to have been. So it's been quite the draft, in my opinion. I'm excited for Kyle Trask. I think he did a tremendous job in Florida. Some people might want to say it's a weapons. He had Pitts there. He had the other first round wide receiver at Florida as well. But you don't just throw for that many touchdowns, that little interceptions, and that many yards and have no talent. So I think he's in the perfect position. He could learn behind Tom Brady for as long as Tom's there, obviously. And then he's got Blaine Gabbert, who just re-signed. Griffin's technically on the roster. You know, you're going to have Griffin and Gabbert compete, something we've talked about in the Red and Pewter group chat, something Kenny B has talked about on Twitter as well. But you could have Griffin and Gabbert compete for that second QB, and then ultimately Trask is kind of learning this year. He has to be on the active roster. I've had some people ask me, hey, how about you guys put Trask on your practice squad? That is not going to work because other teams could claim him and whatnot, and other teams might get him. Look what happened with Josh Rosen, give him a chance to be on their roster or practice squad. So it would be risky if we had Kyle Trask on our practice squad, and he's good enough to be on the roster, so why not have him on the roster? To me, there's no need to pay all these guys. You hope Gabbert beats out Griffin, and you put Griffin on the practice squad. You give him X amount of dollars. If he wants to stay, he stays. If not, he ultimately goes. Good for Griffin. He could be a backup on another team somewhere on their active roster, or he can be on the Bucks practice squad. Stunner, what say you about that idea? Do you think that's logical that the Bucks opening day roster could consist of Brady, Gabbert, and Trask, and perhaps Ryan Griffin on the practice squad?
I definitely think that is what they're going to do. I think that Griffin has pretty much always run a scout team. I think it was kind of shocked to everybody when he did get in against the Colts that time. So I think he's just basically, he runs a scout team. He's a professional. He gets paid good money to do it. And I think that's his niche or his role on this team.
I was actually at that game against the Colts. By the way, shout out to my brother and Pops who were there as well. And my Pops is watching as well. So shout out to him, a Buccaneer fan. That Colts game.
Yeah, they broke the curse of our color rush.
Yep. You could definitely hear a pin drop, not advocating, Jameis or whatever, but you can definitely hear a pin drop in that stadium when Griffin came in. Jameis had a good year. Jameis had some bad passes that game. Jameis had some bad passes all year as well. But you could definitely hear a pin drop when Ryan Griffin came in. He was, I love Griff. He's my guy. But I don't know if that's someone you trust with the game on the line. I don't know if that's someone you trust. To me, Blaine Gabbert, a lot of people are saying, oh, Gabbert, he's been a career backup. No, the hell he hasn't. He's had 48 career starts. He's had a play-in game start, which is pretty much a playoff start because, Stunna, if you remember correctly, one Sunday Night Football about 4 years ago or so, Blaine Gabbert was a starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans in a winner-out game against the Colts. And although the Colts did win that game, that's pretty much playoff experience for Gabbert. So we have Gabbert, 48 starts, and pretty much a playoff game. People saying career backup. I know he might be a backup from this point on, but people just don't understand. This guy has a lot of starts under his belt. He has a lot of Bruce Arians familiarity, and he's a great fit for the scheme. He's not that big of a waste of money, in my opinion.
I think you got a guy like Kyle Trask who doesn't mind being a backup, can do nothing but learn from both Gabbert and from Brady, because Gabbert has a mobility to his game that Brady doesn't, really have. So, and then you have Trask who could do both. So he could be the cerebral and he could be the scrambler. So, I think it's win-win. Why not have a veteran backup? We are going for two. You never know what's going to happen. I think we're a lot better team this year than last year.
Yeah, and without further ado, Stunner, we'll get back to those comments and thoughts on the QB situation, the mobility of Blaine Gabbert, and so much in a little bit. But without further ado, we got Bucko the Bruce joining us. Our man had a long day. We're lucky to grab him for a little bit here. How we doing, Bucko?
Bro, I sat up straight up. I sat down and watched a little bit of MLB Network to get caught up on some afternoon baseball, bro, and I assed out on the couch, dude. To the Buccateers, to the Bucks Nation, to you fellas, my humblest apologies, bro. But yeah, this is my peak season at work. They ask way too much of me. I apologize. But hey, I'm here. Let's roll.
Never apologize for working hard. Everyone's first priority is work. This is fun. This is a great time. It's a good time. It's great conversations, and we love doing this. But at the end of the day, we do it for fun. We do it for the good of our time. So never apologize, my friend. We're glad you were able to make it. Me and Stunner were kind of just talking about the Kyle Trask selection and how right, wrong, or indifferent Stunner was advocating for a little while now, and then we were talking about how Blaine Gabbert signing affects the quarterback room. Stunner, I know you weren't big on Trask before the draft. How do you feel about the pick now? Or Bucko, I'm sorry, Bucko.
I mean, obviously, now that he's on the team, I want him to be the second greatest quarterback of all time. I mean, naturally, that's the approach, but the guy that I watched play at Florida, I was unimpressed with. I do not know that he is worth a 64th overall pick. However, I do understand the dynamic that we have to prepare for that. He has 2 years to learn, and then maybe he can become that guy. And I do know, as far as Buck's Twitter goes, we're not whole unless we have a big three quarterback to divide us, right? So as a whole, we're back to normal. I truly hope Kyle Trask is better than Jameis Winston for the sake of the team. However, for right now, for our all-in approach that we've taken to this offseason, that completely bucks the whole narrative, right? He's probably on the practice squad, which would never mind. I can't say that. We can't put him on the practice squad because he'll get gobbled up by somebody else. So he's going to take a roster spot, and then we have to decide what we're going to do with Ryan Griffin. Is he that – because the league is allowing us to continue that extended practice squad and the reserve emergency at-home quarterback. So you're telling me Ryan Griffin's going to make almost $1 million to sit at home and never do anything. It's whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I want to elaborate on a great point you make, and we talked about it a little bit earlier as well. Kyle Trask cannot be placed on the practice squad, but another thing is the NFL's changing the damn rules, like the damn seasons change, so this year's practice squad rules might be different from last year's practice squad rules, which were different from 2019's practice squad rules, so they could get a lot more veterans on the practice squad nowadays. More bodies were on the practice squad last year. It was actually cool because it allowed a couple undrafted free agents I was lucky enough to interview before last year's season that the Bucs got. It allowed them to stay. They won the Super Bowl with the Bucs. Leverett, my guy Joshua Pearson, and Hagan, those three guys I was able to interview, and this new rule upped it so they could stay. But a guy like Kyle Trask being on the practice squad would get gobbled up for sure. Ryan Griffin, that'd be a lot of money paying for a freaking fourth irrelevant quarterback. So hopefully we'll see what happens. I'm not really sure. I'm with you, Bucko. I like the Trask. I'm Ryder. I wanted Kellen Mond for the value pick. I thought Mond might have went day 3. But like Stunna said, once we took Trask, the run was there on quarterbacks.
Right. I mean, me personally, the guy I wanted was Davis Mills, who Houston nabbed up. He's not going to play either because they have Tyrod Taylor. Obviously, you're going to go with Tyrod Taylor over him. But for me personally, I did not want the Florida Gator quarterback only because of what I watched on the field. He was not overly elite, not overly clutch. He put up numbers, but as we know, numbers mean absolutely piddly. When it came down to clutch moments, that first half against Alabama, he was dreadful. I mean,
what about that second half?
They were down by 30. You're playing against prevent defense.
Alabama, but guess what? That's still Alabama athlete. He was killing them.
You're playing against prevent defense. Yeah, you killed him, and you still lost by 14 after killing him. So, again, the point I'm trying to make is, does he have abilities? Sure. Is he lacking in certain areas? Absolutely. The mobility, the arm strength, all that, yada, yada, yada. Let's go ahead and let's understand he's in a situation where we don't see him until 2023, regardless. So if between now and then he can develop and become who we want him to become, then, dude, I'm all for it. Well, once you're on my team, I don't care what college you went to. I hate Miami. I hate Florida. But you're telling me a guy from Florida or Miami is on my Buccaneers squad, and is going to be a contributor to my team, that allegiance goes out the window. Just like I'm a Florida State diehard. When Jameis Winston put on that shit in gold and said, "Who that?" That dude was dead to me. 2013 championship be damned. That guy died right there. Have the funeral. Have them four guys singing and what. That motherfucker's dead. So I'm rooting for Kyle Trask. I hope he's the second greatest to Tom Brady ever. I hope that's who we drafted. The likelihood of that is minuscule. But either way, the rest of our draft I didn't really like either. So I'm able to have these complaints because we're champs, and I can bitch about certain things. So let me have it.
The one thing I like a lot about the Trask pick, before I let Stunna add in and be an advocate, his progresses went up. His progression went up from 19 to 20. He threw the ball more. He had a better completion percentage while throwing the ball more. He had more yards in attempt. He grew from 25 to 43 touchdowns. Then he only threw one more interception while throwing 80 more passes or so, and his rating went from 156.1 to 180 from 2019 to 2020. That's some tremendous growth. I know he had the weapons at Florida. I know he had some really good kids to play with at Florida as well. But to me, I've seen a guy in Kyle Trask who, although he does lack some things, but also, I'm not making comps here, but there's been a couple quarterbacks, a couple in our division. Matt Ryan lacked mobility as well. Although he has arm strength, he lacked mobility. Tom Brady did lack mobility and arm strength coming into the league. Not saying Trask is the next Brady by any figment of the imagination, but I think he's in a good spot to hopefully, we have a mobile QB like Gabbert. Maybe he could learn some things from a couple of all of our quarterbacks. He is a smart quarterback, and he could make the throws. I mean, the yardage is there. He, threw for 4,283 yards to be exact on 301 completions, which equated to 9.8 yards an average, and this is all thanks to Sports Reference, and that equated to a 180 rating. So although he did lose some big games, I think he impressed last year, and I think his progress and growth was perhaps the most impressive part of Kyle Trask.
True. He excelled against unstellar opponents. When he played LSU and Alabama, he played like shit. But let's just be honest. But also, let's have the counter argument. Let's be objective. Did he make Kadarius Toney and Kyle Pitts number 4 and number 20 overall picks? Or did the number 4 and number 20 overall picks make Kyle Trask become the 64th pick? That's the question I have internally within myself. Did he make these guys better and get drafted where they got drafted? Or did these stellar athletes make him look better and he got drafted because of them? That's the dialogue I have within my own mind that I can't figure out yet. But time will obviously tell that. We don't have to talk about that shit for years. We're just talking about it now because we just picked him. We won't see that guy except for the preseason for years. So, whatever.
As long as TB12's here, that's our guy, obviously, of course. He's the man. I hope Brady plays until he's damn 50 if he keeps playing at a high level, which he keeps doing. Bucko, yeah, I know you want to chime in right now.
No, I was going to let Stunner hit it. Since I got here, he's been quiet, even though he said All-Star's overrated. And I'm going to let that slide. Don't ever say it again. Don't you dare.
Elstad slander will not be tolerated on any behalf. One of the greatest fullbacks of all time. Stunna, any defense there on your James Wilder over Elstad claim?
I like Wilder, though.
Well, James Wilder was a fullback in college also. And, growing up with the creamsicle, James Wilder is all we had. So it's a little different. But Allstott, what happened with the truth happened to Allstott is we had Rhett and Allstott together, and that was his best years. And then when we got done, WD-40, right? He got less carries and got less receiving out of the backfield because when he first came to the Bucs, he was in the flats. He was running those flat routes from the fullback, and he was getting all them catches. And then they started taking his numbers away as he got older. So it's not that I don't love Allstott. I just think that he should have been used more as an H-back or a tight end in the passing game.
The beautiful thing about Mike Elstad, Bucko, before you go here, it was like a damn Range Rover coming
He
at
keeps
you.
calling us backwards, Bucko, if you didn't catch that.
Yeah. Anyways, Elstad like a damn Range Rover coming at you. I think I know what Stunna meant. We'll get more into that a little later. But Elstad coming at you like a damn Range Rover in the open field. And then at the goal line, he'd either jump over you, he'd run through you, he'd follow Warren Sapp and go in untouched behind Warren Sapp's blocks. But Elstad was a legitimate threat that offenses had to worry about. Something you don't see in the fullback position anymore, something that you don't see in the fullback position today. Sure, you might have to worry about them blocking. Sure, a guy like Kyle Juszczyk on San Fran, you might have to worry about a little bit here and there out of the passing game more so than the running game specifically. But, Mike Elstad back in the day, you don't even see fullbacks drafted anymore. I couldn't tell you if any went in this year's draft.
I don't know of one.
We drafted one a couple years ago.
Vitale?
Vital.
However you pronounce it.
Fuck him. He didn't make the roster, so he was never a Buck. Yeah, we drafted him, but you didn't make the roster, so fuck you. But I one of the picks I'm intrigued on, because we talked a lot about pass rusher. I wish Cody was here. Whatever excuse. I took a little power nap and I made it, Cody. You suck. So either way, Joe Tryon. We talked amalgam of pass rushers. We talked all the pass rushers we talked about. Joe Tryon was a guy that maybe lasted 15 seconds of conversation in all of our pre-draft breakdown. And then I started reading Luke Easterling and some other guys had tweeted out saying if this guy played in 2020, he's likely a top 15 pick, and we don't have him. So, which part do you believe? Is he a 1-year semi-productive guy? Or is he the chiseled monster of a man we've seen the videos of? And if he had played in 2020, we don't have a chance to get him. I'm perplexed on who we have there in Joe Tryon because I have limited breakdown of him. So I have challenged my team. Remember when we took V to V instead of Derwin James? I was pissed. Why the hell you take this big Samoan dude? Derwin James is a GOAT. I am no longer going to question Jason Light and the staff, this front office. When they take a guy, they seem to produce. So I'm a hope that that's a good pick. But that's the only pick that I have questions on. Every other pick that we made, the guard from Notre Dame, love him. The fucking punt returner from North Texas, love that. That kid was a high school quarterback in Houston. My buddy Jermaine, shout out to Jay Weave. He's a listener to the program. He watched this guy play quarterback in Houston in high school. So I know that guy's special. Javian Darden, we're talking about. I know that the lineman we got from Notre Dame, he's special. The only guy that I question in this draft is the guy we took with our first round pick because I just don't know. I don't know what we're getting. You know what I mean? Y'all can help me if you know more than I do.
No, I totally agree with you there, Bucko. And one funny thing about our first round pick was the story with his hats. It was a big story. The NFL lost his damn hats. They sent the man a box of hats and they never showed. It finally showed. Better late than never, I guess. But hell, it's like not the same excitement. We'll get into the other hat story when we talk about the other draft pick later. We had a couple. Yep, we had a couple cool hat stories. But Joe Tryon, I'm in the same boat as you, Bucko. I mean, I love the edge rusher pick. We needed the edge. I was a big advocate on edge in round one. I wanted, my guy from Penn State who went a pick before or a couple picks before. But at the end of the day, I'm very excited. Joe Tryon, 6'5", 262 pounds. Buccaneers.
And yoked the fuck up. That guy, he's a chiseled beast, ain't he?
Jesus, you don't think Joe Tryon's better than number 20 for Penn State?
Jason Oweh? I can't say yay or nay, bro. That's my thing. That's where my perplexion is with this pick. Is I only saw one year.
He's a better fit because he can drop into coverage.
Can he? We saw 1 year of it. We saw 1 year of play from Joe Tryon. Period. As a freshman, he didn't do much. As a sophomore, he played, and I think he had like 6 sacks. He was productive, and he showed some things, but he didn't play last year. And then he gained 15 pounds of muscle by not playing, hitting the gym. Obviously, that dude was in the fucking gym working, and credit to that, kudos to that. But we got 13 games of tape to go on with the guy. How can we make assertions of what he is and what he isn't? It's kind of like Trey Lance. It's kind of like taking Trey Lance over Justin Fields. How can you make assertions that Trey Lance is better than Justin Fields? People have been doing it the whole draft season, but in my mind, how can you? People are still doing it. I'm not one of those people that's going to make a hot take or try to dare to be different. You know what I mean? I need to see something, and then I'm going to give you my take. And I don't have a take. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree that Trey Fields definitely got the level of competition, in the body of work over Lance.
Dude said Trey Fields. Yeah. I got you. I know what you're saying.
Fields, my bad, man. But then you're looking at Lance. He's a potential athlete, which is the same with Tryon. He's just that we're getting him on his potential.
Yeah, well, the thing I agree, we're getting him on his potential. He has time to learn from JPP, Shaq Barrett, and we've had great defender from Washington a couple years back, and Vita Vea. Real quick here, Stunny, you got to comment. Stun is stun, But, we got Joe Tryon, and we got Vita Vea. We've got some hopefully good Washington defenders. I like the edge pick. I like the potential of this pick. His physique's nice at 6'5", 262 pounds. As Bucko said, if he would have played last season, Luke Easterling said perhaps higher pick. There were a couple guys who actually didn't play last year and still went round one pretty high.
Yeah.
And I was a little surprised on that. I'm not sure about you guys, but that kind of took me by storm, including our pick. I mean, here I would have thought holding out might have hurt him, but hell, holding out could have hurt him. What if Joe Tryon got hurt when he played? What if Joe Tryon did bad last year when he played? I mean, a bad season or a hurt season could have hurt these guys just as much as holding out did, if not even more.
It hurt, for instance, in the running back. Chuba Hubbard last year was top 3 running back behind Najee and Etienne. That guy played last year and played like shit. And then he opted out after he played like shit. He goes undrafted or 6th-round pick to Carolina, one of the two. I think he went undrafted. But
no, again, Chuba Hubbard got drafted by somebody. I know who you're talking about, though.
He's in Carolina. I don't know if he was last second pick or what he was, but the point is, there are guys we were talking about preseason last year that didn't opt out, that played. Dylan Moses, the linebacker from Bama, got hurt. Fucked his whole shit up. He should have came out last year, but decided to come back, got hurt. When he did come back and play, had a terrible season, then re-injured himself. Now he's an undrafted free agent for the Jaguars. And I think Dylan Moses might be top 2, top 3 linebacker in his whole class this year. And he was an undrafted rookie. So this whole COVID season really messed up the whole landscape of teams and prospects. And then couple that with, for fantasy purposes, for you guys that play Dynasty like I do, there were some really, really good players that went to shitty situations that do nothing to help our fantasy football, like Demetric Felton going to Cleveland. What the fuck did you take that guy for? He's never going to see the field there. You wasted a good running back. Puka Williams to Cincinnati, never going to see the field. Jarrett Patterson to Washington, never going to see the field. It's just the length is ridiculous.
I'm upset we didn't make a move at Puka. I understand that, we're a little maxed on running backs, but Puka and at least the practice squad, to me, the quick fact here about Chuba Hubbard, he got drafted in round 4 by Carolina, and he also got drafted in round 5 of the Canadian Football League draft.
I saw that. There's a couple of guys that got double dipped. Yeah. He's from Edmonton, though, to be fair. He is from Edmonton, Alberta, whatever the fuck. That's where he's from. So, to be fair.
That's pretty nice, too. If you're in the NFL, it doesn't work out, go to CFL and, go to your home roots, your home country to play. That would be nice. We got a comment here from Youngjeen Tai. Young and Ty, thank you for the comment. Thank you for contributing to the Buccateers, a proud member of the TSPN. Your comment is live on the air. Joe Tryon is all right. I watched dude play in college. He didn't jump off my TV. Well, sure, his stats weren't great, but as some people said, and as we talked about with Kyle Trask, these college kids really hit that growth in their final years. Some of them, Joe Tryon last year, perhaps would have looked like a beast out there. Sure, we may never know, but last year could have jumped off the page. Stunna, you have any comments on this particular comment from Youngin Tai?
Well, he probably watches a lot more Pac-10 football than I do. So I'll take his word for it. But, Anthony Nelson, I think, didn't really, he came out his rookie year and he got hurt. And then last year he was healthy and he kind of helped us, in the Super Bowl and in the playoffs.
Yeah, but
so all
Anthony Nelson has to do.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. All Joe Tryon has to do is to compete with Anthony Nelson for that number 3 rusher. Because, to me, JPP is a future Hall of Famer, and Shaq is, right now the best in the game. So,
look, I love JPP. I love Shaq. I don't love the rotation behind him, which is why Tones, you, I, and Cody ad nauseum stated we need that third pass rusher. We need that more than anything. We talked about trading up, giving up assets to get a Jalen Phillips, to get a Pootie Tang. My boy Pootie Tang is going to ball in Indy. Either way, Joe Tryon, he took a year off, and God bless him, he put in the work. And just like young Gene Tide, Jit, what you gonna call you, Jit Tide? Just like he's saying, when I watched him, he did not pop to me. I was like, oh, look at this. I never had that wild moment watching him play. He made some plays, but nothing that really jumped off the screen at me. But I also see the work he put in and the physique and all of that. And I'm going to tell you right now, if Todd Bowles, if Jason Light, if this staff, this front office that has not missed on these guys yet, if they feel he's worthy of a number 32 overall pick, I'm there. I seen the same guy said he liked Nick Bolton. I like Nick Bolton too. Nick Bolton was gone right before we picked, for one. For two, where's Nick Bolton going to play? He's not going to play over Devin White and what we got right now. So give me a guy that's going to be a situational pass rusher that's going to create.
And
Levante.
And we got some.
We got Mentor back.
Yep, and we got some mid to later round picks as well for inside linebackers who could learn from White and David, who weren't as high as draft picks. A guy like KJ Britt, a guy like Grant Stewart.
I like KJ. I watched that dude at Auburn. He can play, man. I like KJ Britt a lot. How he went, we got him the 5th, right? 5th or 6th?
Yep. KJ Britt went in round 5, pick 32 in the 5th round. Overall pick 176 from Auburn. He's 6 foot.
That guy's a good player, dude. He's a good player. And I was surprised he was there.
He's a little undersized, 6 foot, but he's a good player. I thought he would have went a little higher. Those Auburn guys usually do. Bucko, you were saying you like him?
Yeah, Auburn's been good to us.
Auburn has been very, very good to us. LSU and Auburn. And also, we've made very few BYU selections, but they've all turned out to be good. All the way back to Steve Young. Every time we pick a guy from BYU, they turn out to be good. And this Chris Wilcox kid, just watching the tape on him, like him. I like him. He's long. He's speedy. He's Jamel Dean in the 6th round. Great pick, Jason Light. I think that, remember we talked about we need that corner depth. We talked about trading up to get a J.C. Horn or something other. I honestly think we got a guy in the 6th round that fits the exact mold of what Jamel Dean is. I'm very, very excited about every pick in our draft. The only one that I had a question at is the first one. So, and I've been known to have been wrong. I wanted Derwin James, and I thought Vita Vea was a bum. So I'll kindly put my own foot in my own mouth and shut the hell up, and let's see what we got.
Stunna, what say you? What would you say is perhaps your thoughts on Chris Wilcox and KJ Britt both before we jump to a couple other prospects? I have one in particular I want to point out. I tweeted about him, and I think he could make a good impact, although some people might say otherwise. Stunna, what say you on Wilcox and Britt?
I definitely love Brett. Like I said, Auburn's been good to us. Wilcox is my intriguing pick for the Bucks because I do think he's got a lot of upside and he's capable to make the team. Because kind of like we had that Parnell Motley corner last year where he was kind of on the team, then off it again because the other teams keeps jumping him off our practice squad. And then I like the free agent we signed out of Navy as a corner as well. So I think we definitely putting the pieces together, in that depth situation where if a guy goes down, kind of like what happened to us in the NFC Championship where we lost our safeties, but the people that came into the game were able to, carry us home.
And it's never bad to have another D-back. Maybe Chris Wilcox is the guy who needs to step in next year because these younger cornerbacks are about to get into their second contracts, and surely the Bucs won't be able to afford all of Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Jamel Dean one day. That's just going to be a lot of money. Obviously, even guys like Whitehead, Edwards, Winfield. Obviously, Winfield's a little later on, but the rest of the game, Whitehead and Edwards, and then the three cornerbacks that I named as well, they're all in years 3 or 4 already. So
these are the last. This is the last year of Carlton Davis because he's gonna get 13, 14 mil a year, and I don't know that he's gonna get that from us. I don't, and especially after we go for 2
other free agents,
right? But after we go for 2, and he's got 2 rings, he's gonna go for the money. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and then hopefully that's when a guy like Wilcox would hopefully step in and fill one of their shoes.
I'm telling you, Tones, go put on the tape. That guy can play. He's fast. He's got long arms. He's rangy. The fact that he was there in the 6th round was the both of those guys. KJ Britt should not have been there in the 5th. He should not have been a 5th round pick. Dude, that guy at a high level, at a high program in the SEC, with that kind of production falling to the 5th round it's like Godwin falling in the 3rd round for no fucking reason. I don't know how this keeps happening, but shout out to Jason Light for gobbling these guys up. These are, if anything, they improve our special teams, Tones, which was god awful. You know what I mean? But we got a returner now. We got those 2 safeties from Denver and Green Bay. We drafted these guys, with the extended practice squad and what have you. Our special teams can get back up in the top 15 overnight, which is imperative. It needs to happen.
Speaking of special teams, one of my favorite picks of this draft, and I think he's going to help immensely, and I tweeted right after we drafted him, former Buccaneer Super Bowl champ player comp, but I think he could be more effective, more better. The old player is oft injured. I think Grant Stewart could make a hell of a special teams impact, and I think he could be good linebacker depth, and he already photoshopped into a number 48. Kind of reminds you of a role of a Sir Jack Seachy. And, hey, I got that right, maybe. But he's going to be more effective, but that's everything that we hoped 48 would have been when we drafted him out of Wisconsin. We were hoping he was going to be a good, 3rd or 4th linebacker. We were hoping he was going to be an effective special teamer. His injuries prohibited him from doing that. Obviously, people seen potential in him because Bill Belichick scooped him up, and then the Bucs fell victim to some injuries, so we ended up bringing him back off of their practice squad for the postseason run, and he got hurt again.
Again, broke his arm.
Yep, so the poor guy couldn't stay healthy. Here we take Grant Stewart. Bucko, I think with Stewart's athleticism, this could be perhaps an upgrade. I know Mr. Irrelevant, 7th-round pick, might not have the greatest chance of making the roster, but this guy's hat story was incredible, too. His dad was on the way, didn't know what hat to buy. There was only one hat left on the damn shelf. It happened to be a old-school creamsicle Bucko the Bruce Bucks hat, and then Stewart was able to have a Bucks hat on during his interview. I love this damn guy, man. I'm fired up looking at him.
Well, when I heard this guy tell his story, and he called his own mother a sex professional. And the shit he was saying, dude, I'm not supposed to be here. My mom was a streetwalker, Pop was in and out of prison. I ain't supposed to be here. Mr. Irrelevant don't mean shit. I'm here to play football. That right there, that sold me. Because just look at the dude. He looks like he can whoop all our ass right now. Every one of us at the same time. And to be honest, you have to have that chip on your shoulder, that dog in you, to come from where that guy's come from, with lack of production, a walk on at the University of Houston, I believe, and then ended up earning a scholarship, so to speak. Like, the dude's story is incredible, and I'm here for all of that. Guys that just like, look, I ain't supposed to be here. I love this game. I'm fixing to put 110% into everything that I do. Give me all of those guys. Now, he's not going to blaze you away with his measurables or his speed or any of that. But I guarantee you get maximum effort and let that guy be a gunner on punt return. He's going to fuck somebody up. And I want to see it.
You up.
I'm here for it. I want the flowing locks to just come there and smash that little short midget fucking beer truck driver for the Saints, whatever his name is.
His hair is like a mix of Josh Hader and Dustin May. He's got that,
Yeah, it's Dustin May with Troy Polamalu. I think
there
that's
you
closer.
go. Yeah, that's a little better. I think the Polamalu and May comp is better, and he's got that fucking life story that makes you want to run through the damn wall, and he's got that pizzazz too.
Be great. I want him to be great, man. I promise you right now. I watched, I think, one game of University of Houston football. This guy didn't jump off. I don't know. I know who the fuck he is. Never heard of him until we drafted him. Then I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued. Then I listened to his interviews. Then I watched his tape. This guy right here, if he balls out and he makes a team and he plays, he has a chance to be my favorite Buck because of his story, because of his drive, because of his heart, and not giving look. I don't even know if this was even a Bucks hat. My dad gave me this shit. It just so happened to be a Bucks hat. I'm like, yeah, I love it. The honesty, the realness, I don't give a shit. I'm here to play ball. You know what I mean? I want that. I need that.
I totally agree. I love that shit as well. I think he's going to be a beast. Stunner, what say you on the pick?
I definitely love the pick. I think it's going to help. They talked about he might play safety too, which is another area of depth concern. So
is he fast enough for that though? Does he have the speed to play safety?
I mean, at the collegiate level, I know he at least played D-back and linebacker.
I saw that he did both. At Houston. I'm just asking, at this level, is he a tweener? He looks too fucking big to be safety. In my opinion, I'm asking, is he?
I don't know his measurables. I didn't go to his pro day or get that information up.
I think he's
measurable, like a 40 time and stuff. If his 40 time is comparable to whoever's playing there now, of course he is. It's all about how they train or whatever. But
go on.
I was just saying, I'm with you, Bucko. I like the draft that we had. I think that we did better in the Saints draft, and
they took the guy from Houston that none of us heard of either, but they took him in the first round. Fucking morons. I love it.
Oh, they reached on every pick.
Ian Book.
Yeah.
Tones. Ian Book. Ian Book's not even an NFL tight end.
He should have been a UDFA.
He should have been go fucking sell insurance. That's what he should have been. He's not a football player.
He can do what Ryan Griffin gives you. He can give you what Ryan Griffin gives you. It's comparable.
I promise you I'll take Ryan Griffin over that drum. I watched him play. He's
but Ryan
Lamar
Griffin
Jackson
is got
without
the quarterback, and that's what Ian Book is going to be.
So, is the Saints' damn strategy just stockpiling average quarterbacks right now or something? But I just want to get into two more picks here quick before we give draft grades to the NFC South and bounce out of here. Robert Hainsey and Jalen Darden are third and fourth round picks. I thought they were both tremendous. I thought they were both fantastic. Hainsey O-lineman from Notre Dame. Obviously, Notre Dame just breeds O-linemen like crazy, like wildfire. You know, you look around the league, every damn team just about as a star O-lineman from Notre Dame, it seems. But no, for real, some of the best O-linemen in the NFL, particularly Quinn and Nelson. Shout out to my brother, a Colts fan.
Zach Martin.
Zach Martin, the kid from San Fran. The kid from San Fran, I forget his last name, but they produce beast year in and year out.
The list is long enough for where we can trust it. Now, you, me, and Cody in the chat, we wanted what's the guy's name? Quinnen Merez. What was Wisconsin Whitewater? We all wanted that guy, and all the people that make a lot more money than us took this guy over that guy. So let's have the wherewithal to understand that we just guys sitting on the fucking couch. This guy's probably better, right? Can we all make that assessment?
Oh yeah, and I'll take a kid from Notre Dame over Whitewater as well.
You went to Wisconsin Whitewater for a reason. I know we got Kappa, I know we got Marpet, but let's not sit here and act like those guys are the dime a dozen, like it's a regular thing that they pop off. You know what I mean?
I agree. And then, guys, we got Darden as well, a speedy, perhaps kick returner, and adds a dynamic to the wide receiver. Man, our damn wide receiver room. I had a Cowboy fan literally argue me. I guess he proclaimed to be a Cowboy podcaster, probably a joke over there. Guy sounded like lunacy. He tried competing that the Cowboys wide receiver depth chart is better than the Bucs. Hell fucking no, it is not. I would not have Amari Cooper as my damn number. He wouldn't even be the Bucs' third wide receiver, Amari Cooper. You break down Amari. He wouldn't be. You look at Amari Cooper's film. No, you look at his numbers. You look at his film. He would not be better than Antonio Brown. He would not be better than Mike Evans. And you better not say that he would be better in our offense than a Chris Godwin, because we know that's not true. Amari Cooper.
I'm not saying he'll be better, but what I am saying is the CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. That's a nice trio. I'm not saying they're better than us, but they're not bad. They're pretty good. Amari Cooper's a damn good receiver. CeeDee Lamb, damn good receiver. Michael Gallup. I mean, but if you want to go, I'm gonna take Evans over Cooper. I'm gonna take Godwin over fucking CD, and I'm gonna take Antonio Brown over Gallup, right?
And Amari Cooper's never had a 100-catch season. He's never had more than 8 touchdown receptions in a season.
Not once?
Nope, and his most receiving yards ever were 1,189. Now, he's still good. I'm not saying he's a bad wide receiver, but he's also had seasons that went 53 catches, 725 yards, and 6 touchdowns. 48 catches, 680 yards, and 7 touchdowns. And then he did have one injury-riddled season at 22, 280, and 1. But shame on, a guy like Mike or Chris if they had full healthy seasons to ever compile numbers like 48, 680, and 7.
No, man, both of them were hurt last year, and they put up better than what Amari did. I'm just saying, you got to let these guys live, bro. You got the Bengals have a second-year T. Higgins, an unproven Jamar Chase, and a underwhelming.
I've seen them getting thrown around.
They're saying they're better than what we look. Let these Twitter fucks have what they want. Give me the guys with the rings. Give me the guys with Brady. I think we'll be fine. Let these guys, dude, these chits on Twitter with their W or L power rankings. This guy's greater than that guy. Let them little jets have their thing. Stunner, me and you are guilty of it more than probably anybody. Let's let them have their fucking thing. Let's stay out of the way.
Yeah, you can't be the troll. We always talk about that.
Dude, you and I are 20 years these guys senior. We can't be arguing on the internet with you. My father told me very few little pieces of advice. But one of the things he said that I stick with, never argue with a fool publicly, because the strangers can't tell which one is which. Mm-hmm. So you keep arguing with a fool, you're just as fool as that fool. So let these jets have it, bro. Our wide receiving core is the best in the league. Period. Our linebacking core, best in the league. Period. Let's leave it at that. Let them argue amongst themselves. We know what it is.
I definitely agree. I hear you. That's why on Twitter I leave it alone most of the time. But this damn Cowboy fan podcaster, whatever the hell you call him, got to me. I seen it, and I'm like, hold on.
You should have just asked to be a guest on his podcast. When he said no, you would be able to shut that conversation down.
Or you should be like Stunner. And when them guys argue, you say, "Oh, add Bucko Bruce to your group," like Stunner keeps doing to me with them GF2 guys. I don't know why you keep doing that shit to me.
No, it's your boy.
They all follow me, bro.
Boy.
I got like 30 followers off that dumb shit, and then I didn't follow them back, so they unfollowed me promptly. But they all jumped on it, like, "What are you doing, guy? I don't want to talk to these people."
Yeah,
I remember the one guy you called him out, and then he was like, got all sensitive about it. So that's who I think I was tagging you on.
He said, "You don't even follow me, so why are you arguing with me?" It's because you're being stupid on my timeline.
Yeah. You're not allowed to argue with, if you don't follow him, you're not allowed to argue with him. That's why.
That Chris James guy, I think, honestly, I think he stated it that he's got, his ticker don't tick all the way. So I try to be kids clubs with some of these guys, but they really should not be so boisterous if they are of mental issues. But either way, Tones, change the subject. Go ahead. What's next?
So we got a couple signings to announce, and I could go in all day on what you guys were just talking about.
I actually have to roll soon. I gotta go. The wife is sitting. I see her gleaming at me right now with her fuck ass. I love you, baby.
Bucko, we'll just get your thought on, we'll let you go, and then me and Stunner will close out. Thoughts on Raven Green and Joe Jones signings? I know they're little ones, but
But with the amount of money we're paying them, I think the two of them combined make $1.3 million. They're for special teams, camp bodies. If they were anything worth their salt, they would be on the teams they've been on the past 3 years. So, do I expect anything of them? No, but also, given the guys that we lost, Ryan Smith, Andrew Adams, the pieces that we lost were all that special teams, depth, camp body role. So we have to bring in cap-friendly replacements. And these guys all have experience. And actually, both of them, Green and the other guy, have game experience.
Yeah.
So it's going to help that room, the special teams room. It's going to help that. Because, dude, our special teams have been our Achilles heel ever since we got rid of fucking, what was the dude's name? Rich Bisaccia.
Yeah.
Rich Bisaccia, ever since he left, our special teams has been shit. We used to have one of the best special teams units in the league every year. Since then, we've given up more yards and gained less yards on the kick returns than most everybody in the league. So I'm all for improving that third level of this team. But the other two levels are so good, I can really give a fuck. So I'm happy we're addressing that. It can't get no worse. That's my opinion. And I'm going to leave it at that. And guys, I apologize that I was late, but this was very fun. And we're going to do this shit again very soon, right?
Yes, sir, we are, Bucko. Thanks for coming on. As always, we appreciate your time. Always great to have you, brother.
All right, Buccateers. Let's get it, boys.
Yes, sir, as always. That was Bucko the Bruce. And Stunner, we're just going to talk for a couple more minutes here. I tweeted yesterday to wrap up the Green and Jones talk before we get your NFC South draft grade, and then we log off. Green has been solid Packers safety and special teams depth since 2018, recording 2.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and an INT, and played 32% of defensive snaps in 2020. Jones has logged 49 games with the Broncos since 2017, playing on over 75% of special team snaps for Denver in 2020 and 2018. What do you think about these two signings?
I think they'll fill a crucial role, having those veteran type players to help out with our special teams and provide depth if needed.
Agreed. Totally agree here. And once again, you're listening to the Buccateers. Last couple minutes here until 8:45. So we got about 6 more minutes left of good talk here. And Stunna, I want to get your opinions and grades on the NFC South draft. We talked all night about the Bucs, and let's hear your grades. Tampa, Saints, Atlanta, and Carolina. What are they, and what's your justifications?
Well, I think Atlanta did very well. I think Carolina did above average. I think the Saints did below average, and I think that the Buccaneers definitely did above average. So whether the grade is an A, a B, or a D, it definitely is. There's merit to it. I would love to look at who they drafted, but I know that Atlanta got a legitimate playmaker at number 4, score points. And I know that Carolina got a good lockdown corner, but is that going to help their run defense? I don't know. I hope not, So we'll definitely see what happens with them. But I know the national pundits gave Carolina a lot of credit because they got a tight end in the fourth round or something. But to me, I thought that we did really good with our picks, and I thought that other teams, reached or other teams got who they were supposed to get, but they were drafting early because they were trash. So
I'm honestly not even saying this just because it's at post draft and I've seen who we picked. I was literally advocating for every single position we picked as we did it. I wanted an edge in round 1. On day 2, I flipped the rounds, but I wanted offensive line round 2, QB round 3. We ended up doing opposite. Cool. Then day 3, we ended up getting some linebacker depth, which I wanted, and some D-back depth, which I wanted, and special teams help, which I wanted. I could not complain about our draft. In terms of drafting what we quote-unquote would want or need, I'd give us an A. Talent, that's another thing we'll learn down the road. It's impossible to tell these kids' talents now. It's impossible to judge them on talents now, but down the road, that's something else. So obviously, I think we did really well. I think there were some value picks in our divisions, but I would give the Saints a D, the Falcons a C, and the Panthers a C as well. But I would give the Saints a D. We talked a little bit about their draft earlier. I think they were just very ineffective, very inefficient. Drafting a kid like Ian Book when they have a lot of holes on their team after a lot of departures that came. I think we're looking at a 3rd or 4th place Saints team and not a Saints team that's going to be competing with the Bucs this upcoming season. I think that we're going to see some troubles coming out of New Orleans. If anything, I think a team like Carolina might be sneaky. They have the best running back and perhaps offensive weapon in the league with Christian McCaffrey. You never know when they could sneak into things with Matt Rule as their coach and Sam Darnold, who could pop off as well. I'm not really afraid of Atlanta. I know they got Matt Ryan, Julio Jones in that gang, but let's be honest. They're getting old, and that core's never won shit. They've been to the Super Bowl, and they choked it all away, and ever since then, they've never been the same. So not really concerned with those guys. Stunna, I don't know about you and how you feel about them.
I agree at the bottom. I see the Saints at the basement. I think Carolina will be behind them. I think Carolina will be about what they were last year, if not a little better. I see Atlanta making huge jumps and possibly, challenging us for the division. And I see that because they have a new coach, so they're unpredictable. Okay, so they can come out of the gates hot. And so we never know what Atlanta's going to do when they have a new coach, new structure, new culture.
That is so fair. Unpredictable. Unpredictability is key, and unpredictability is something for certain. Unpredictability is something that there definitely is. Unpredictability with a new coach is something that definitely goes hand in hand. So I agree with you there. I'm on your side there. I think the unpredictability factor of the Falcons is something of interest, but at the same time, I just don't think they have that great of a roster. I do think Kyle Pitts was a decent pick, but they could have used more than an offensive weapon. They have a lot of weapons. They already have Gage, Jones, and Ridley. Sure, you add Pitts to that mix, and it might get a little more talent, but I think there were better draft value picks. I think the Bears, not in our division, but I think the Bears had one of the better picks in the first round. I think Fields fallen was great for them. I think a team like Atlanta or New Orleans, If they really wanted a QB or even Carolina, Fields is a great value pick, and he would have been decent for any of those teams. They all kind of need a quarterback. Atlanta does have Matt Ryan, who's a future Hall of Famer, but there were reports they were trying to trade him, so you don't really know what's going on there. But it just interests me to see. I'm not. I'll see what happens with Atlanta, but that does interest me, Stunna. I'm intrigued by that take. I'm intrigued to see how that take stands by this time, or by the time the season concludes. Obviously, none of us, none of us can tell right now what's going to happen. But you say Atlanta in second, I say Carolina in second, one way or another. But nonetheless, Stunna, that's another great episode. Thanks for coming on tonight. Excuse me, and talking some great Bucks talk.
Absolutely. Thanks again.
Yeah, it's been fun. Sorry for the sneeze fest there, fellas. Why not end the show with a bang, I guess. No, but for real, son, I think some great talks, some great segments. We broke down each draft pick. You gave your draft grades. We talked your new free agents. We talked the trash thing. We pretty much hit what we all wanted to.
Another great night. All for one for all. Buccaneers, yeehaw.
Absolutely. I think that's a great log off. He's Stunna. We were joined by Bucko the Bruce. I'm Tampa Tones. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us tonight, this Thursday. What a great night. Until next time, next week, we're out. I think we're going to do this live thing more often. I'm a fan. I just like coming at y'all live. So we're out of here for now. Buccateers, we'll be back next time. Thanks again so much. Thanks for the questions as well and comments, Joey and Youngeen Ty. Hopefully next week we could get a little more interactions. But yeah, it was cool getting some more than better than nothing. But anyways, until next time, guys, Buccateers is out of the building. Thanks again. Go Bucks.